Now, Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane said since 2019, the provincial government has built close to 100 schools. Mabuyane said between now and 2030, the province needs an estimated 8 billion rand every year to bring all schools in the province to a suitable state, conducive for teaching and learning. But the current school infrastructure budget is 1.6 billion rand a year. Now, delivering the State of the Province address last month, Mabuyane asked the people to be patient as the government intends to reach all schools in need of infrastructure upgrades. Meanwhile, in 2022, the Eastern Cape Education Department was criticised for returning over 200 million rand to the National Treasury that was earmarked for infrastructure, while the province has the highest number of pit-latrines in the country. Now, in February 2023, 4-year-old Langalam Viki died in a pit-latrine at one of the primary schools in Buffelsdings in the province. And the Eastern Cape Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, is here to speak to us about these issues and more. He joins us from our SABC studios in the Eastern Cape. Premier, we thank you so much for your time and for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers.
So, Premier, when we go back to when you delivered the State of the Province address, you spent the first portion of your speech really talking about education and health as well. You said while you take pride in the successes of the province, you remained mindful of the challenges in the health system. Let's talk about those challenges that you're referring to.
Yes, we would understand historically we are coming from a very low base as a province in terms of the social infrastructure backlog, and we've been working very hard building on the foundations laid by the previous administrations. When we came in as the 6th administration, African National Congress, the governing party, said the education and the health remains apex priorities and we should be focusing on that. Part of the issue that we had was also how to strengthen the state capacity. We'd understand that we spoke about building a developmental, ethical, and a capable state so that we are able to deliver these infrastructure programs, but also to make sure that there is no money lost, no unauthorized or no wasteful or fruitless expenditure. No money is actually recalled by the National Treasury. The money that is meant to be spent on infrastructure is going to be spent on infrastructure. We've done that. We've improved a lot as the provincial administration in this 6th administration. So I can tell you from where I am now, when we have said we're going to do so number of schools or so number of houses, that will be done, and everybody understand it from an MEC down to the HOD. So there are no issues around that. We are applying consequence management. If we have put targets, targets must be met. That's exactly how you are seeing the change in our provincial administration. That's the reason why we have seen a lot of improvement from a PFMA audit outcome. Getting about 15 clean audits in this administration was not just something that came as a fluke. It is a result of hard work that we've put into this. Everybody, the Premier himself, rolling up his sleeves, getting to the ground, going to schools. We're improving education every day. We're improving health quality in our province. Every day we're delivering infrastructure, both in health and education, simply because we want to change the lives. We have said in 2019 when we came in, we're building the Eastern Cape we want. We're exactly on that track.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, it is good to hear you say these kind of things, but the reality on the ground seems to be a lot different. And we'll put a lot of the questions and the views of some of our viewers here at Morning Live. But, you know, we often are seeing pictures, for example. I mean, when I talk about the healthcare sector, we've seen videos of patients going to bed hungry, some sleeping on the floors in the Eastern Cape, some talking to the dismal situation that the healthcare sector is in and the healthcare that they are given. So as much as I know you say that there's a lot that's being done, but these are people's lives we're talking about. How am you correcting that? Those stories that are there and that are happening right now?
Remember, Leanne, in the State of the Province address we were delivering this year, we were reflecting on the work we've done over the last 4 or 5 years. That is the 6th term. We are not just saying something that exists in our figment of imagination. We are saying something that is concrete, that is out there. We are dealing with those issues, the culture change, and basically inculcating a new culture in the civil servants to understand that they are employed to serve people. The reason that they are called civil servants is simply because we understand that they might have different careers, but here they are here to serve our people. That's an issue. If you build a 1.2 billion hospital in Tanzania like Cecilia Makiwana, but when you get inside the hospital, you don't get a quality service. It's a human factor, and that we're dealing with those kind of issues. If you look at what's happening in education, the delivery of good results and improvement in education is as a result of the work that is done by teachers, parents, and people themselves. So that kind of a culture that we have inculcated in the education sector is exactly what we are basically trying to proliferate or multiply in every other sectors to make sure that this is a culture that we are having as a provincial administration, as a provincial government. People who come to government, they understand it very well. They're here to work. So we are dealing with those issues. Yes, we'll have those historical issues that will keep on coming. We understood when we came in that we've got a serious reputational damage about these kind of issues. The money that is returned, money that is not spent for infrastructure, people who are not working, people who are not ethical, and all those kind of issues. One of the reasons that we said we are putting up the lifestyle audit that started with the executive ourselves through the National Intelligence Agents to make sure that all those who come into government can be monitored, their behavior and their social conduct and all that, so that we know that we are here to focus to serve our people. This government, the sixth administration, building on the other previous administration, has done a lot, has changed this province. It is changing. If you move around this province, and it's a construction site, all our major road network is under serious construction. We are working with Sandral on that. We are completing 10 billion investment. Sandral is putting up additional on that. In the next 5 years, we are looking at more 60 billion investment to change the situation. Currently, the Eastern Cape, 90% of our roads are gravel.
Premier, let me quiz you, because I mean, you've brought up an issue of tarred roads. We've got a question here from a viewer who wrote in here and is speaking to us about the fact that these roads, let's bring this one up as an example. It's a 70-kilometre gravel provincial road, the DR 080-17 between Cedarville and Kwabaka. It's led to many accidents, including 25 people who died in a bus accident in May 2008. It's been in a procurement process for almost a decade now, is what the viewer is saying. At one point in 2007, it was being tarred after the project was launched by the previous Premier, Mcwangele, for 127 million rand. They failed, the contract was terminated, and it's still untarred. 16 years later, after this bus accident, in 2008, after the Premier Balindlela promised it would be tarred, it's still untarred, and there are still horrific accidents happening there. That's just one road, one example.
There will be that. It's part of the challenges that we experience as we are working. I might not have picked up exactly the road you are making reference to, but we are doing a lot of roads in our province.
Between Cedarville and Kwabaka, that one, the DR 08017, the one where that massive accident happened. 25 people died there on that road. A promise made by a premier in 2008. It's 2024, still nothing done.
I know we're working on a road that connects Cedarville to Matatiele at R1 billion as we speak, implemented by Sandra. There are a couple of roads that we're doing. There will be many of such roads in the Eastern Cape, knowing the Eastern Cape, its topography and how the Eastern Cape vastness is. So there will be a lot of those incidents. You will find that situation in Tsendan, where the bus has also done the same thing and elsewhere. But we're working on those roads. It might not be exactly the kind of situation, but we are dealing with those roads. We have given some of those roads to Sandral as a province voluntarily to work with us to make sure that we speed up the process to deal with those issues. Yes, we would have done much better had we improved our agility a few years ago, but that's what we are focused on. When we have said a road must be done, it must be done. And yes, we still have experiences about the procurement. That's why I've said now we must be transparent about this issue of procurement. This procurement must be done openly in a transparent way, so that we don't have challenges.
I know you mentioned that,
procurement.
But so Premier, I want to move on to now education, because we are going to stop for the news at 8 o'clock. But between now and 2030, you did highlight that, and you were talking to the education department needing about 8 billion rand every year to bring schools in the province to a suitable state for teaching and learning. While the current school infrastructure budget is 1.6 billion a year, Can you tell me why over 200 million rand was returned to Treasury in 2022 when we're seeing the province with the highest number of pit latrines, children dying in pit latrines? I gave an example of the introduction. What's going on there? Why has pit latrine not been eradicated in your province yet?
This year we have not returned money back to Treasury. We didn't return money last year. Yes, in 2022, as you have said, we had challenges, but even the money that was taken, 100 million, the money it was committed, the projects were already in place, and we couldn't understand it. That's why we were in disagreement with National Treasury as well as Department of Education, Basic Education. Why are they taking money? Because our systems were all in place and the money was committed. But still, we had to apply consequence management from our side, because we would have seen it coming earlier, would have planned much better, but the money was committed. As we speak to you now, some of those issues are corrected. There is no money. We have actually returned back. LTSM, books and everything was actually in school by end of October last year, 100%. So we are improving on how we are dealing with those issues from an administration point of view. And we are making it a point that those who are employed are doing their work. Those who are elected to lead are leading. So we are putting a lot of work on that one, on monitoring point of view, but as well as on implementation point, because we've got a plan. This is not a fluke. It is a response to a plan that we are executing.
Okay. Premier, I'm going to pause you. Let's pause the conversation. We will pick it up. There are so many questions and comments coming through from viewers as well, directly from the Eastern Cape, which we'll pass on to you. We just need to update the country on the news, and then we'll pick up the conversation.
And Leanne, of course, in conversation with the Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane, as she continues that conversation, just the messages coming through, Leanne, and the Premier, just in response to the question about the road between Cedarville and Kwapata, here's a response. It says the Premier at the time she gave an undertaking during a mass funeral that was held, the then Premier Nosimo Balindlela, at a mass funeral in 2008, and they committed to tarring that road. 16 years on, no tar road exists, and it's not right for three premiers of the same party to promise action, and 16 years after that, nothing is done. So many questions coming through, but of course, Leanne, as you continue your conversation with Premier.
Yeah, Premier, these are just some of the responses that we are certainly getting. I mean, another one I bring you, and please, if you've just tuned in, we've got the Premier Oscar Mabuyane of the Eastern Cape talking to us and in conversation after his State of the Province address. Quite a harsh response here from Mabeka saying, this is for you, Premier. He is talking a whole lot of nothing. That's what he is saying. People are suffering in our province of the Eastern Cape. How do you give a high blood pressure patient painkillers like Disprin? What is the Premier doing about the traffic lights that you promised to fix and the potholes on the R75? So, yeah, these are just some of the responses we're getting from viewers, Premier. Perhaps you want to respond to them.
Yes, obviously, Leanne, there will be always such kind of challenges. I've said earlier on, accepting that we're coming from a serious low base in terms of infrastructure backlog, and we're attending to those issues. The road between Kwapata and Matatiel, if it's the one that I understand, the road was done and left unfinished, the 70-kilometer stretch that connects the two towns, and that's a road that is always part of our priority areas. Yes, we do have competing priorities, and I say we've got 90% roads, or 90% of our roads being gravel roads. That's a situation of the Eastern Cape. It has been there for centuries and centuries. This government is sorting that out, is resolving that problem. We are attending to that. That's why today there are so many roads that are under construction. Definitely we are coming to those roads, and we are going to be fixing. I can tell you this term that we're starting, those are part of roads that we are prioritizing to ensure that in the 7th term, those roads are attended to. There will be roads issues everywhere, because that's how the nature of the Eastern Cape has been for years and years. Yes, we might not have done enough as even us as the government of the democracy for the last 30 years, but a lot of work has been done to change the people's lives in the Eastern Cape. Issues of traffic lights and other things, surely those issues are issues that I can be able to make a follow-up with, but they would have something to do with the municipalities. But also the problem of vandalism that we have everywhere in the country, where people are deliberately collapsing the government infrastructure, including the traffic lights, etc. But I'm going to make a follow-up on that R75
All right.
issues that they are speaking about. There's a program to deal with potholes across all our towns are busy with that, and we're dealing with such kind of issues as we are basically revamping our road infrastructure. Some roads needs serious rehabilitation. They've been there for years. Even if you put up a pothole, it's not easy to keep that pothole for long. So we're dealing with such kind of issues. But we are clear now, we are a government in working, and we are focusing on issues to make sure that we are able to change the situation in the Eastern Cape, and we are changing that situation.
Okay, Premier, so let's park the road issue, because that is something I think that people are very concerned about. It brings to the fore that the state of the roads in the province are very questionable from what people are saying. You did say in your State of the Province address that the province has recorded the greatest improvement in the number of households with access to sanitation in South Africa. I think you said there was an increase in 58.3% to 91.7%. But let's put this tweet up from one of our viewers with regard to water and sanitation. And this particular viewer is writing to us. Let's just see where this tweet is coming from. But I know that they were saying that they have absolutely no water. This is Nkosikona here. Nkosikona saying the Eastern Cape promised me to fix the issue of water in Ward 21, Kalalo and Kwenkura, the OR Tambo municipality. Until now, no water in the taps. Another area, I hope he saw the state of the roads. What is the plan for employment as well? Premier, would you like to respond to that?
We have tabulated a very clear plan on issues of water. We have serious challenges of the bulk water supply, but the Minister of Water, Comrade Senzo Mchunu, is very hard at work on that particular issue, working with our municipalities, both the districts and the metros, to address that problem with a clear plan. That's the reason why this government of the ANC is now implementing a project, a multi-billion project, that has been conceptualized since 1960. It has never been done, but to date is being done. The Mzimvubu Dam, which we believe it will actually cover a lot of Alfred Nzo, Owar Tambo, Joe Gabi areas, but also help our people to improve their lifestyle. So these are key catalytic projects that we have spoken about in the province that have been delayed for years and years. Whether you talk about N2 highway, which connects KZN Durban to East London with those two largest bridges in the continent, those projects are underway as we speak. So a lot of work is being done, is happening, and it is because we've put a lot of effort as this administration. We're not going to resolve these issues overnight. These issues are historical, they are chronic. They've been here. Eastern Cape has been in isolation for more than 300 years, and we've been grappling with that, and we're dealing with those issues. Fortunate enough now, through the DDM led by the president, we are focusing even in those provinces to ensure that there's even development in this country. Yeah. So the ANC government alone, with the little budget we have,
Premier,
we won't be able to deal with those issues, but we are working with national government.
May I ask you about consequence management? Because it seems like, I know that you keep saying that we've turned the page, we're coming off a low base, it's been very difficult, everything is hard, but where's the consequence management here?
The reason that we're improving, even if you talk about audit outcomes, is simply because we are implementing consequence management. In the infrastructure rollout plan, and any company that collapses along the road, we have said those companies must be blacklisted. We can't continue giving one company that collapsed. We had a situation where one company was given about 3 projects. It collapsed all 3 projects, and those are critical road infrastructure projects that are connecting to hospitals. He said, you can't continue with a company like this. Yes, procurement, you must respect it. Politicians should not come nearer that. But we are implementing consequence management to any manager that is found wanting. That's the reason now there's a huge improvement. There's a huge turnaround time. There's an improved agility of government to ensure that projects that are supposed to be done are done. So here in the province, everyone knows if you are given a task and you don't perform in your task, something is coming for you.
Okay. I mean, if we look at just one example that came out the beginning of February, the Enoch Ngijima local municipality emerged in Parliament as the poster child for badly run municipalities. That's last month.
The municipality or the local government sphere in the province has been having its own challenges for some time as well, but I can tell you there's a huge improvement across the local government sphere. As I'm speaking to you, more than 19 out of 39 municipalities in the province are on unqualified audit outcome. It's unprecedented. It has never happened. Because we're working, all of us, we in the entire ecosystem to ensure that mayors are focused on the work at hand. We are appointing competent and qualified people who have put up clear instruction. No basic person must be appointed in any position of authority in the municipalities. Enoch Ngijima is a case on its own. How the institution was collapsed. It has been happening, it has evolved for some time, it has reached that point. But as we speak, there's a huge turnaround there. There's a mayor hard at work, the municipality is functioning, is much better than it was a few years ago, as it would have been reported in the parliament. Okay. If you can go back there, you will see the municipality hard at work because we are putting a lot of support, we're bringing in 154 support as a province, we're working with all our municipalities to change the situation. Okay. So the entire ecosystem of governance in the Eastern Cape is working much better than it would have been working in the past because Premier takes serious responsibilities with mayors. Mayor must take full responsibilities about their municipality. Yes, they've got separation of powers. They are independent, but when things happen, they affect our province. This province will never develop if it cannot develop at that level of the local municipalities. Okay, we are putting up those systems. Only competent people who must be appointed in any position of authority.
Well, we're happy to hear that. Premier, let's put a quick one up here, just one last one. And these are photographs. Have you got a monitor in front of you? Are you able to see these photographs? This is from a viewer that is sending us these photographs. So we'll just go through them one by one. The Premier should be ashamed. We'll put the tweet up as well. If we can go to the next photograph. Go and check Mngazana JSS in Elliotdale and see the state of the shack my aunt sits in and teach the foundation phase learners. This is a school. It has been many years of empty promises from the Department of Education. That's the state of the classrooms. I'll put the tweet up. This is from one of our viewers talking to his aunt and the state of the school that's in that area, Mngazana JSS in Elliotdale. It must make you ashamed looking at that. That's in your province.
Definitely, any responsible leader must be ashamed about such kind of situation, and you can't blame the past. We should be able to address those issues. But as I'm speaking to you, Leanne, every month we're delivering a school. We're handing over a state-of-the-art school in all areas, including Xhosa areas. We might not have arrived in that school to a specific school, but I can tell you if I go out of here, ask the department, I will get a plan, what is happening about that school, what is going on and all that. We are eradicating mud school, we are eradicating all these dangerous ablution blocks that have been actually used to dump our kids and all that. So there's a clear program from a presidential point of view, SAFE, which is making sure that all our schools are under construction, particularly on the ablution blocks. That school I will make a follow-up with, but I can tell you every month we're handing over a new school. We've built in this term almost about 100 schools. It's not a joke. This is what has happened. So we are working on those issues. We have reduced the amount of mud schools in our province. But the biggest problem, Leanne, if I may share with you as well, as much as we're building all these good, nice schools, because of the challenges of underdevelopment in our province, because of the issues of outward migration, people are leaving. You built a school today that can accommodate about 800 pupils. Come next month, there are only 300 pupils there. People have left looking for other opportunities. That's why we are looking at the entire system of development of the province, not only the schools, not only the hospital, but our people to be here so that they get everything. We're looking at issues of investment. We're bringing more investment. More companies are coming into our SEZ. The best SEZs in this country are here in the Eastern Cape, and those are products of this government in 30 years. The Kucha and East London SEZ. Now we're working on the third SEZ, the Wild Coast SEZ, to ensure that the eastern part of the province is also part of the overall development that we're pursuing as a province. I'll follow up on that school, the specific school you're referring to make sure that I get a response on that. We are attending to every cases like those, but also we have a challenge where you don't have numbers in schools. You can't build a school that has got about 100 when you've got a school that has got about 1,000 kids. Indeed. So we are looking at those options and reprioritize and prioritize, but we are eradicating everything that is untoward, everything that is wrong that relates to the issues of infrastructure, whether it's an ablution facilities, whether earmarked schools, etc. We are clear on that one. We've got a clear plan that we're executing.
I have to leave it there, and there's so much more I need to speak to you about, but unfortunately that's our time up. But Premier, please let your team go and have a look at our social media page. There are lots of other issues that have been brought up with specific road names, specific schools, specific areas, and issues that the people of your province are going through. So Premier, thank you. Thanks for your time. That was, of course, the Eastern Cape Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, unpacking the State of the Province address. This, of course, as Morning Live continues to focus on the provinces and those State of the Provinces addresses that were delivered in the 9 provinces.